What if everything we thought we knew about ancient history is completely wrong? In today's video, we're diving into 5 jaw-dropping mysteries that still leave scientists scratching their heads in 2024. From temples that predate farming to ancient machines that shouldn't exist, these unsolved puzzles will change how you see the past. Part 5. The Pyramids of Giza. Precision beyond their time. Before we chase aliens in the Andes, let's rewind 4,500 years and land in the blazing deserts of Egypt. Towering over the desert for more than 4,500 years, the Great Pyramids of Giza stand as one of humanity's most enduring mysteries. So precise, so massive, they've puzzled scientists, engineers and dreamers for generations. Each limestone block weighs several tons, yet they're arranged with mathematical perfection. The base of the Great Pyramid is almost a perfect square, and its sides align within a fraction of a degree to true north. The gaps between the stones are so tight that not even a razor blade can easily slide through. And all this was achieved without cranes, modern tools, or digital planning software. How? In 2024, researchers from the University of Cambridge breathed new life into an old theory. With a practical twist, they found experimental evidence supporting the idea that the Egyptians may have poured water on the sand in front of wooden sleds. This moisture reduced friction, making it much easier to drag massive stones across the desert terrain. A clever low-tech solution, one that suddenly made the impossible seem a bit more manageable. So what if that was just one piece of the puzzle? In that same year, satellite imagery uncovered something shocking: remnants of a buried canal system near the Giza plateau. This hinted at an even more advanced level of engineering. Could it be that ancient Egyptians used boats to float the stones along these artificial waterways, right up to the base of the pyramids? If so, then Giza wasn't just a tomb site. It was a meticulously planned logistical hub, complete with transport infrastructure that would rival a small city. Yet even if we accept these explanations for transportation, the biggest mystery still looms overhead. Literally, how were the stones lifted and stacked with such unthinkable precision, some placed nearly 500 feet in the air? There are no blueprints, no instructions carved into the walls, no ancient manuals were buried nearby. Just the stones, the stars, and an eerie silence. Was it a series of giant ramps, spiral structures made of mud brick, or an entire army of workers trained in perfect coordination? Some estimates suggest as many as 30,000 people may have been involved, working in rotating teams over decades. But even these theories come with gaps. Then comes the weird part, the alignments.
The 3 pyramids of Giza mimic the stars in Orion's belt. Coincidence? Maybe.
But the internal air shafts of the Great Pyramid align precisely with specific stars. The dimensions of the structure correspond almost exactly to values of pi and the golden ratio. Even the weight of the Earth and distances to the Sun are oddly mirrored in the pyramid's math. Did the ancient Egyptians possess astronomical knowledge far beyond what we've ever credited them for? And what if the pyramids weren't just tombs? Some researchers, often labeled as fringe, suggest they were more than monuments. Perhaps they were energy devices, star clocks, or spiritual amplifiers. It sounds wild, but then again, so does building a 500-foot precision structure in the middle of the desert 4,500 years ago. So what were the pyramids really? Tombs? Observatories? Machines? The truth is, no single theory explains it all. And until it does, the Great Pyramids remain something more than historical artifacts. They are silent riddles carved in stone, monuments to ambition, belief, and genius. Or maybe to a secret the desert still refuses to give up. Part 4. The Nazca Lines. Who were they really for? We've looked at monuments that reach for the sky, now let's explore messages carved into the earth itself. In the dry, silent deserts of southern Peru lies one of the strangest and most haunting mysteries of the ancient world: the Nazca Lines. At first glance, they seem underwhelming. From the ground, they're nothing more than shallow scratches, barely carved into the reddish-brown soil. You could walk across one without even noticing. But from the air, they transform. Giant figures emerge, hummingbirds with wings outstretched, spiraling monkeys with curling tails, perfectly symmetrical spiders, whales, and even human-like figures with large staring eyes. There are also massive geometric shapes, trapezoids, spirals, zigzags, and long straight lines that stretch for miles like runways from another world. Here's the twist. These geoglyphs were made over 2,000 years ago, between 500 BCE and 500 CE, long before humans had any way of flying. So, who were these images meant for? That single question has haunted archaeologists, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike for decades. Some of the designs are so vast, spanning up to 1,200 feet, that their full shape can only be understood from high above. Why would a culture without flight technology create artwork on a scale they could never fully see? It's like painting the ceiling of a cathedral without ever looking up. In 2024, researchers from Yamagata University in Japan attempted to answer some of those questions using AI-powered drones. These drones scanned the desert with high-resolution imaging and machine learning algorithms, revealing dozens of previously unknown geoglyphs, some so faint they had remained hidden for centuries beneath layers of wind-blown dust. This discovery not only added new figures to the Nazca catalogue, but also shifted the timeline. It suggested the lines weren't made all at once, but rather over many generations, possibly by different groups across hundreds of years. Some of these new lines appear to align with celestial events, such as solstices and planetary movements, hinting that they might have served as a massive astronomical calendar. Others stretch toward ancient ceremonial sites, suggesting they were once ritual pathways for religious processions or seasonal ceremonies. A few even seem to trace underground water sources, an essential resource in one of the driest places on Earth, linking the geoglyphs to fertility rites or agricultural survival. If the lines were meant to honor the gods, why make them visible only from the sky? Were the Nazca people communicating with deities they believed were watching from above? Were these symbols a form of prayer, drawn not with ink or words, but with miles of desert line work? And then comes the big, spine-tingling question. Did the Nazca people know something we don't? Theories abound. Some suggest these were offerings to sky gods. Others claim they were part of ancient shamanic journeys. And of course, the more fringe theories point toward ancient astronauts, visitors from the stars to whom the Nazca were trying to send a message. Thousands of years later, the Nazca Lines remain one of humanity's most cryptic messages, unspoken, unbroken, and still largely unread. Like a letter carved into the earth and addressed to the heavens, waiting perhaps eternally, for someone or something to finally understand what it says. Part 3. Stonehenge, a giant clock, a burial ground, or both. Forget Machu Picchu for a second. We need to talk about the original architectural mystery that predates it by millennia, Stonehenge. It's one of the most iconic monuments in the world, looming silently over the green fields of Wiltshire, England, a circle of towering stones that have watched the sun rise and set for over 4,500 years. It's called Stonehenge, and despite centuries of study, we still don't really know why it was built. Each of those massive stones weighs up to 25 tons, and many were transported from quarries nearly 200 kilometers away, some from as far as the Preseli Hills in Wales. That's before the invention of the wheel. No cranes, no metal tools, just sheer manpower. And yet they weren't placed at random. The stones are aligned with astonishing precision, particularly to the solstices, marking the longest and shortest days of the year. Was it a calendar? In 2024, new research brought us tantalizingly closer to some answers, while also opening the door to even more mysteries. A team of archaeologists from Oxford University performed isotope analysis on human remains found at Stonehenge, hoping to decode who these people were and where they came from. Isotopes, which are chemical markers preserved in teeth and bones, can reveal the geography of a person's early life, what water they drank, what food they ate, and even the type of soil they grew up on. What the team discovered was surprising. Many of the individuals buried around Stonehenge were not local. In fact, some had originated from regions hundreds of miles away, possibly from western Wales, where the bluestones at Stonehenge were quarried. This suggests that Stonehenge was more than just a regional monument. It may have been an ancient pilgrimage site, a sacred destination where people traveled long distances to participate in rituals, ceremonies, or elite burials. But here's the question. What could have made this windswept plain in southern England so important that people were willing to drag giant stones and their dead across entire countries to get here? The deeper we dig, the more Stonehenge begins to look less like a mystery and more like a portal into a forgotten worldview we barely understand. But that's not all. Using magnetometry surveys, a non-invasive scanning method, scientists uncovered a much larger ring of pits hidden beneath the surface surrounding Stonehenge. These pits form a massive, nearly invisible outer circle, possibly making the entire area part of a vast ceremonial complex, much larger than anyone had imagined. One theory is that Stonehenge wasn't just one thing. It may have served multiple purposes over centuries: a giant solar calendar, a sacred burial ground, and a ritualistic gathering place all rolled into one. A place where ancient people could mourn the dead, celebrate the seasons, and connect with the cosmos. A prehistoric version of a cathedral, clock, and observatory merged into a single, mysterious monument. Why go to such incredible lengths to build it? Stonehenge still holds its secrets, and in a world obsessed with answers, it stands as a reminder that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved easily. They're meant to be wondered about, generation after generation. Part 2. The Antikythera Mechanism, the world's first computer. In 1901, deep beneath the Aegean Sea, sponge divers stumbled upon the wreck of an ancient Roman-era ship near the island of Antikythera. Among the statues and amphorae was a strange lump of corroded bronze, shattered into dozens of pieces. At first, it looked like nothing more than ancient scrap metal, but when scientists cleaned it and took a closer look, they were stunned. Hidden within that corroded mess was something that had no business existing in the ancient world.
It had gears. Complex, interlocking gears. Dozens of them, with teeth so precisely cut they rivaled 18th century clockwork. Engravings in Greek lined the surface, along with what appeared to be astronomical symbols. This wasn't art, it was a machine. And as it turns out, it may have been the first computer ever built. They called it the Antikythera Mechanism, and it's now believed to be over 2,000 years old, dating back to around 100 BCE. But here's the twist. It wasn't just a fancy calendar. It could predict eclipses, model the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, and even track retrograde motion, a phenomenon where planets appear to move backward in the sky. It could also pinpoint the dates of the ancient Olympic Games, all powered by turning a crank. Fast forward to 2024, scientists at University College London employed cutting-edge 3D imaging and X-ray tomography to digitally reconstruct the missing inner workings of the mysterious Antikythera Mechanism, a 2,000-year-old device often dubbed the world's first computer. What they uncovered stunned modern historians and engineers alike. The device wasn't just advanced, it was mind-bendingly sophisticated. The reconstruction revealed a dense network of over 30 intricate bronze gears, some no wider than a grain of rice, meshing together in perfect harmony. The mechanism could predict the positions of the sun, moon, and planets, from Mercury to Saturn, with remarkable accuracy. Even more astonishing, it accounted for the moon's irregular orbit through an ingenious epicyclic gearing system. It could forecast solar and lunar eclipses, track the Metonic cycle, and even model the Saros cycle, used by Babylonian astronomers. But here's the kicker. It used differential gears, a concept officially credited to 16th century Europe, 1,500 years later. How did an ancient civilization, supposedly without precision tools, math, or microscopes, pull this off? It's not just a relic. It's a challenge to our entire timeline of technological evolution, and a question we still haven't fully answered. So, who made it? Crafted in Hellenistic Greece, possibly by a genius in Archimedes' circle, the Antikythera Mechanism remains a one-of-a-kind enigma. No replicas, no blueprints, no mentions in ancient texts. Was it part of a lost tech tradition, or a singular miracle that appeared, worked, and vanished, leaving behind only questions and wonder? What we do know is this: buried beneath the sea for 2 millennia, this broken bronze box has done something no other artifact has, made us completely rethink what ancient humans were capable of. It's a reminder that history isn't always a straight line.
Sometimes it loops back with gears.
Part 1. Göbekli Tepe, the temple that shouldn't exist.
This temple wasn't supposed to exist. Deep in the arid hills of southeastern Turkey lies a forgotten ruin, one that flips everything we thought we knew about human civilization upside down. It's called Göbekli Tepe, and according to archaeologists it was built around 9600 BCE. That's over 7,000 years before the pyramids of Egypt and thousands of years before Stonehenge. At the time this place was built, humans weren't supposed to know how to build anything. There were no cities, no farming, no written language, just small bands of hunter-gatherers surviving in the wild. And yet, someone somehow hauled massive 16-ton stone pillars into perfect circular formations and carved them with detailed images of animals, insects, and abstract symbols. These weren't just rocks. They were carefully engineered monoliths, T-shaped, some towering over 16 feet tall, arranged in a pattern that suggested purpose, ritual, worship. In 2024, new excavations brought even more questions. Archaeologists discovered that these enormous stones were carved using simple flint tools. That's right, prehistoric stone-on-stone chiseling, no copper, no bronze, just raw human effort, working with primitive tools to create something that looks suspiciously advanced. But what if that's not even the wildest part? Soil samples taken from around the site revealed the earliest traces of cultivated wheat. Not random wild grains, farmed grains. This shook the foundation of everything we thought we knew about human development. Because up until now, the accepted theory was that humans settled down to farm, then built temples. But what if it was the other way around? This leads to what some archaeologists are now calling the religion-first model, a theory that completely flips the traditional timeline of civilization. For decades we believed that humans first settled down, learned to farm, built communities, and then developed organized religion. But Göbekli Tepe challenges that. The idea is this: people may have gathered for spiritual or ceremonial reasons, rituals, feasts, or something we can't yet understand. And those gatherings created the need for permanent structures, which eventually led to farming and permanent settlements.
But here's the strangest part. Despite its scale and age, there's no real evidence that anyone lived at Göbekli Tepe. No homes, no hearths, no burial sites, no trash pits or food storage rooms. It's eerily empty of daily life. Just massive stone pillars carved with wild animals and abstract symbols, arranged in circular enclosures that required planning, coordination, and sustained labor, all in a time when humans supposedly still lived in small nomadic groups. It's like someone built the Eiffel Tower in the middle of a forest, with no roads, no towns, no villages, then just walked away. Why would Stone Age people spend years carving 10-ton pillars and hauling them uphill just to abandon them? What kind of belief system or motivation was powerful enough to inspire such effort without any practical benefit? And here's the bigger question: if Göbekli Tepe came first, what else have we gotten completely backward about our origins? So, who were these mysterious builders? One thing is certain: Göbekli Tepe doesn't just predate history, it questions it. And no matter how many scans, samples, or theories we uncover, this site continues to whisper a haunting truth. The beginning of civilization might not have been what we thought. If you want more mind-blowing mysteries, hit like and subscribe. Got a theory of your own? Drop it in the comments, and we'll feature the best one in the next video.